Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Next Move Group. We are Jobs podcast slash YouTube channel since we've added YouTube to it. Allie Watson's here with us again from our team. And today I'm going to talk about a way that I'm really worried about our country and something that I think economic developers are going to have to get involved with, whether we like it or not. And let me start by saying this is not a political statement. If it sounds political, it's not. And here's how I can prove it to you. I did a similar show last year for our movement members. Basically, I'm going to tell you about the various experiences. Allie and I have made a list. I don't know if it's 10 or 20, but it's something like that.
There's
Negative
enough.
experiences of customer service. How many, Allie?
I just said there's enough. I don't know the number,
Oh,
but it's enough.
very 10 to 20 terrible customer service experiences over the last 2 weeks along my travels. It didn't matter if it was in a small town or a big city. We have got a teetotal breakdown in the labor force of customer service. And I actually blame the managers more so than the labor force, and I'll talk about that. But anyway, I did a very similar show last year for our movement members on some trip I had been on where I had everything I did. There was terrible customer service. I think it directly affects our economy, and I'm going to talk about it. We're in real trouble as a country. So this is not Republican Democrat because I did this same show last year and Biden was in there, and I'm doing it a year later and Trump's in there. So I don't want to hear any of this. It's not political. 12 or 13 things we're going to go over that happened. Allie was there for some of them. I'm going to try not to mention the business's name if I can, because we're not out to put anybody under a harm. Going to be one or two I have to mention them. I guess I will start with 2 weeks ago. I picked Allie up in Nashville, Tennessee. We were headed to see a bunch of customers all the way to Kansas City, Missouri. And I drove because I have clients all along the way. So started in Nashville, went to check into my hotel in Nashville. I'm not going to again say the name of the hotel, but nice hotel right in downtown. What's it, 4th Street Alley? I mean, right in the middle of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
4th Street. The card key creator was not working at the front desk. So I don't mean when you go to let yourself in the room, it wouldn't work. The key card creator of the front desk would not work. And I was trying to check in at 6 or 7 with hundreds of others. Airplane crews, pilots that clearly need rest. I don't know if you saw the Savannah one that got arrested for drinking, Alley. Maybe that was his excuse. His hotel wouldn't let him in. Anyway, I go to check in. They can't let me in. I'm going to meet Allie for dinner, which was another bad experience. We'll tell you about. Um, yes, it was a technology breakdown. And what you're going to see as this theme is what I don't understand. Why was there no manager taking charge? Sir, I will personally walk you to your room and let you in myself. Sir, here's a free breakfast in the morning. Sir, this, there, that. That was my concern. So, I mean, Allie, when I came and got you, I don't know if I'd been in my room yet. I can't remember.
You have,
But
well, yeah, they did eventually let you drop your bag into a room. Yeah.
okay, and I know this sounds like I'm griping, but y'all, this is one of 20 things we're about to go over. Go get Allie. We go to a very expensive Mexican place in Nashville that's very good. Allie will tell you, I tell everybody it's my favorite place. Do I not, Allie?
He does. He does.
I absolutely love it. We weren't going to go there, and Allie suggested. I said, yes, let's go. We go there. What, Allie? We got there about 8:30 on a Sunday night. So what kind of late? Wasn't a whole lot of people. What time did we get there, Allie?
Yeah, we got there around 8:30, but they closed at 10. And so we sat at the bar to make sure that like it was open and quicker service. We love to sit at a bar, interact with the bartenders, just quicker service. So we sat up there and there were maybe two other people, patrons at the bar with us. So um
Talk about what happened.
well, so yeah, typical, they bring you, even though it's an upscale Mexican restaurant, they bring you your chips and salt, house-made salsa, whatever. We do that and then we order, and the food comes out pretty quickly, but never once does she come back to like see how everything is tasting, to ask if I had to ask multiple times, get my water filled back up. And we were both having I think a beer, and we had to keep reminding her like to
Yeah,
check.
never asked if you wanted
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
Would you like more salts? And again, this is an upscale, expensive place. a place that you want to be felt at home. There were two bartenders working, uh, and we might have been one of only four people sitting at the whole bar, and we were eating. We weren't there primarily to drink; we were there to eat.
Yeah.
And they were just closing the whole time. The whole time it was as if you were intruding their time to be closing, an hour and a half before closing time. And I say this as a man that worked at McDonald's, which I'll get into in a minute. I know what closing time looks like. Was that the impression you got, Alec? Like, I'm closing. I don't have time to run over there and ask you if you need any more iced tea or not.
Yeah, it was drop the chips down, take our initial drink order, our food order that we were ready to give her right whenever she took our drink order. So it's not like we were lingering around. And as soon as that was done, the focus was just strictly on cleaning the bar mats, rolling new silverware. And I get it. I was a hostess at a restaurant and I too would fold silverware and things like that. I get when you've been there all day, but yeah, it was still an hour and a half before close. And we probably would have had like another drink, but we decided not to
Absolutely.
because the experience was so poor. So,
And Allie, that's what I want to tie this back to. It's costing these businesses money. As I get into these examples, I'm going to talk about that. And I don't blame the line workers. I blame the managers. I worked at McDonald's in high school. My manager wouldn't have put up with that. He wouldn't have. My manager was a little 5 foot tall, 65-year-old woman, and she would have said, Chad, you're going to get this right and you're going to get it right now. And I don't see that. That probably cost that restaurant $30 that we would have spent extra. Probably just sitting there, $30 that just because they didn't come around and ask and this, that, and the other. The next morning, we get ready to leave. And I'm going to pick on Allie's home today. There's no way not to tell this. The second you get into Kentucky, driving from Nashville, Tennessee on Interstate 24, the roads are in such horrible condition, it will knock your front end out of line. I'm not sure my car's driven as good since. I'm not exaggerating. I said, my God, Allie, moving. She was driving. I said, move into the other lane. This is beating me to death. Maybe that's where I got the vertigo from. I said, move into the other lane. She said, Chad, it's been this way for years, which I didn't know because I don't drive that way a lot. How long has it been like that, Allie?
I mean, one of the two lanes on I-24 has been that way, I would say for 6, 7 years. I mean, because my family still lives in Paducah, so I do that drive from Nashville often. And if they're not working on one, they're working on the other. As soon as that one gets fixed, they're working on this one, and this one starts to deteriorate rapidly. So I don't, it's horrific. And there are cars all along the side of the road, and you can't avoid it. The left is just as bad as the right lane. So yeah.
Second, you get into both Tennessee and Kentucky. Your cell phone will only work at exits. Swear to God, y'all are going to say Chad's making that up. Is this not true, Allie?
It
I
is.
could not work. I could not have a conversation. And yeah, I'm saying this is not political. This is what makes people mad when they read that we're sending money to Ukraine. I would have said this when Biden was in or Trump. This ain't Republican Democrat. This is what makes people mad. We're sending all our money there, and I can't drive down the interstate without knocking my tire out. I can't have a cell call. For some reason, going to both Nashville and Tennessee, and Nashville is one of the most growing, populated areas. You'd think they'd have superb cell phone infrastructure. You will be going down the road, and I don't mean in the rural, fairly populated, and your phone will go to one bar and it won't work. Best of luck if you're trying to get an email out, sit in the passenger seat. I noticed as we travel, if the phone would work at exits only, and it wasn't just my phone. I have AT&T. What do you have, Allie?
Yeah, I have AT&T as
So
well.
we both got AT&T. So maybe it's an AT&T. It would work at an exit, but I mean, within a mile from an exit, till you got to the next one, you had zero phone service. I'm talking about not barely, no, zero. So that is an infrastructure breakdown. But here again, that is a lack of caring about the customer. There is some manager somewhere. That's who I blame is we don't have managers anymore. There's some manager somewhere that's not taking care of that. And I don't know any other way to say it. We get to, I'm for sure not going to say who this is because I love them. They're friends of mine. Allie has a bank that she banks with. And this is how come we were up early that morning to get to the bank. her debit card had been compromised. One of these crooks got her number and used it or whatever, so they had to give her a new one. So Allie, so we had to leave Nashville at 6 in the morning. I wasn't in a very good mood. And then I'm bumping around, driving along my way. I can't get my phone to work. Anyway, we get to the bank, and I'm not going to say who they are. I'm out there working. I think the stock market had just opened. I'm sitting there trading stocks. Allie runs in. So talk about your experience with your debit card.
Yeah, so they were expecting me because it had happened while I was in Richmond for a wedding, and I got alerted that my card had been compromised, so they froze my funds. I said that's fine. I'm going to be coming through anyway on a work trip. First thing Monday morning, I'll be there right whenever they open. So I was thrilled whenever they called me by name whenever I walked in, and I very rarely deal with them. I just keep some money there. I live in Nashville now. They called me by name. They're expecting me. I did appreciate that. That was great customer service. They remembered I would be there, the first customer that morning. Um, the whole process took maybe less than 10 minutes for me, for they were able to print new cards in the bank, and that was great. Well, I think we're good to go. She sends me on my way. We get, I don't know, to Vienna, Illinois, which is 50 miles away from my hometown, and I notice that I would just happen to be online, and I notice and look at the back of my card, and it's the same exact card, same exact security code of the card that had gotten compromised. They just turned it back on. And so anyway, it made an extra stop on our drive back from Kansas City to drop me off in Nashville. And it's just it should have been obvious, but I can't comprehend how that happened. And yeah, put
You
more work.
reprinted you. They reprinted you the card that had been cut off because
Yeah,
it had been compromised.
exact card
So then
number,
she
exact
couldn't use
security
her
code.
card any for the whole trip. And actually, we had to extend our stay in order for you to get it on the way back.
Yeah, yeah, we did. So
And again, what I'm saying to economic developers watching this is not just a gripe session. Don't feel sorry for us. There's a managerial problem. There was some technology there that didn't work, no different than when the hotel wouldn't let me in. There is a managerial issue. So we drive along, headed towards St. Louis to get to Kansas City. Y'all, I swear to God, I wouldn't believe this. I would not believe this. If I were you, I'd drive up there and see if Chad's lying or not. We get to, is it Mount Vernon, Illinois,
mhm.
Allie? Which is where the interstate crosses from Indianapolis to St. Louis. Yeah, y'all think about this now. Indianapolis to St. Louis to Kansas City, probably one of the biggest distribution routes in the country, if I had to guess, east west, whatever that interstate is. You turn to go to St. Louis, and they have it one lane for work, the construction work they're doing. Oh gosh, 20 miles, Allie. If I'm exaggerating, I'm exaggerating to the low side. In other words, it's closer to 25 than 15.
Yeah, yeah,
25 miles on a main east-west distribution thoroughfare. And it is one lane for the whole way. And I mean, they got these barriers up where if you accidentally move over any, you're going to wreck your car. You absolutely going to wreck. They got these barriers up. For 25 of the miles, I say this, my father was a construction worker. He worked building bridges. So I'm very sympathetic to the construction worker. But for 20 of the 25 miles, nobody's working because they're all working up there on that other section. And I'm sitting here thinking the commerce that comes through here again, that is a lack of care for the customer. We all understand we got to have our roads redone. But to shut down 25 miles of one of the primary east-west, St. Louis is distribution capital of the world. To shut down one of the thoroughfares for that wide of an array for no reason whatsoever. You could have done it in 5 mile stretches. It was dangerous and no appeal for the customer, no appeal for the person driving that road, the trucks coming through that. There is no question in my mind there's been wrecks because of it, insurance claims, and the economy is affected. That's what I'm saying to you. There's some manager somewhere that's allowed that. I don't know who they are. There's some manager somewhere that's allowed that. Am I telling the truth on that, Allie, or am I
yeah,
exaggerating?
yeah. They're the first 15, 20 miles, there was not a single construction worker that we encountered. And meanwhile, traffic's backed up. I mean, it's delaying our trip. which I think is the next point that Chad's going to get into why we ended up having to choose the fast food restaurant that we chose because our trip was delayed. So we couldn't have like a working lunch at a sit down restaurant. So yeah, you can go ahead and get into our next grievance of that
So then
trip.
we stopped at McDonald's. We were gonna go to Chick-fil-A in the Illinois side of St. Louis because we were in a hurry. Here again, yeah, we'd have rather sit down at Outback or something and spend $100 instead of 20, more sales tax for the town, but nonetheless, McDonald's. Uh, I think I ordered 2 cheeseburgers with bacon. What'd you order, Allie? Did we have any a
Like
wild order?
a chicken sandwich, and that was
Now,
it.
y'all, this one gets me because I worked at McDonald's in high school. This is where I know society's breaking down. You may be laughing at me. Usually, when I tell this, people laugh, but I'm serious about it. I know it. At McDonald's, where I worked in high school, our manager wouldn't have put up with this. We order whatever we order. We pull up to the window, and they immediately say, "Please pull to number 2 parking place. Your order's not ready yet." Allie, back when I worked at McDonald's, we didn't have all them extra parking places you could go sit. I mean, we had to. At McDonald's, I know this for a fact. I worked there. The minute somebody orders, a timer starts ticking. They have a timer. It's in the back over where the person's cooking. It's right there at the front when they're looking up at the order, and it's over the drive-through. You have a goal. I think the goal is 3 minutes. I don't remember exactly. I have not worked there in 30 years now. But when I worked there, I think the goal was 3 minutes. This is what bothers me. Corporate knows they need people through there in 3 minutes. They know that because they have this timer working down. We pull over to number 2 and we're in a hurry, but I mean, we sit there. Let's make sure not to exaggerate, Allie. I want to tell the truth. We sit there 10 minutes, maybe
Yeah,
15. And I
I
said,
think.
Allie, they're
Yeah.
not going to bring the food.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
it was definitely 10. I said, we'll give it 2 more minutes and then I'll go in and see what's going on. So 12 minutes total. Yeah.
so Allie runs in. There sits our food on the counter getting cold. It's been ready the whole time. What did you encounter when you went in there?
They asked me what I was looking for. I told them what our order was, and they said, "Oh, it's right here," and picked it up off the counter I was standing at and handed it to me.
That nobody was going to bring it to us. And y'all, this bothers me because I worked at McDonald's. We have a lack of managers. My manager wouldn't have put up with that. She would have threatened to fire me. She would have chewed me up and down. She would have. I made mistakes when I worked there, and she made me know it. We're missing that. We're missing that, and it's harming our economy. We get to Kansas City, one miserable experience compared with the highlight of the trip, and something I want to brag on. Go to check in our hotel. Well, Allie, we don't even have the first hotel we checked in. I am going to tell this. We didn't even have this on our list. We checked into the first hotel, which is a 4-star hotel. Some would argue 5-star. We booked it on Hotel Tonight. We didn't know it was available. And anyway, we go to the front desk to check in. Literally, this is a 4 or 5-star hotel. This ain't a Hilton. It's a step above that. We go to check in, and the lady at the front can't really find our reservation. And then we tell her, well, we got it with Hotel Tonight. And condescending may be too strong of a word, but it was almost like, well, I don't want to deal with Hotel Tonight. She went on and got us our stuff, but it took 10 minutes to get in it because she don't like dealing with Hotel Tonight. Is that not the truth, Allie?
Well, I think the issue is someone else on their team deals with hotel tonight reservations. So she had to call someone else to confirm because it wasn't showing up on her end, which it's fine. Like, it's fine. But the whole attitude of having to do that extra step to check us in, and like, we're not the first, nor will we be the last people to use that. So if that's the process that you have to call someone, then don't act like we're the burden.
Again, if you got the right manager, you say, welcome to our hotel. Thank you so much. They would tell you all about it. Y'all need to see this. You need to see that. When you go in there, make sure to order the whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The next night, and I had to say, road construction the whole trip. In Kansas City, major road construction. And I know that we have to do our road construction in the summer. I mean, I understand that. But I would say from Florida to Kansas City, however many miles it was, and it was a lot, I would say 30% of the trip was in road construction. I'm not kidding, and I mean I'm not griped about the. I told you about the Illinois and the Kentucky situation. We get to our hotel the second night in Kansas City because the first one was booked, so we couldn't stay at it but one night. We pull up to the hotel and the water's out. The water line had busted, and there was no water in our hotel. Problem A, and I'm going to tell you about that problem, but I want to brag on something. The workers of the Kansas City Water Department worked all night long and had that water on by the time everybody woke up the next morning to take a shower. Now, I'm going to tell you, you go to a lot of cities, and the municipal water workers are not going to be out there working at 2 in the morning. So, as bad as all these experiences are, I'm going to tell you, the Kansas City water line workers, whoever they are, they impressed the devil out of me because they got a good manager who they worked all night long, didn't they, Allie?
Yep.
They worked all night long.
Yep.
So, but we check in the hotel, there's no water. Rather than having a manager say, terrible thing, you booked a hotel with no water. However, we feel sure you'll have it by morning. I think most people, as long as they know they can get up and take a shower, they're somewhat okay with it. They ain't crazy over it, but they can live with it. No, it was none of that. It was no, here's a free breakfast in the morning. Thank you for coming. Here's a free valet because of your worries. Here's a free drink at the bar. No, we don't have any water.
Well,
Matter
and
of fact, I then said, "Can I need to go to the restroom. Where's the restroom?" Well, we don't have any water. You can't go. I mean, there was no thank you for coming, hang with us. Was it, Allie?
And here's the thing, like, because in passing, walking back to my room, the workers were talking with a manager who happened to be back behind the front desk at this point. And I think it was something like our two rooms were only two of like nine people who decided to even stay at the hotel after learning about the water issue. So in my mind, you have no excuse to not go above and beyond for those nine people that are sticking it out. There was no bottle of water offered. Should the water not come on and you need to brush your teeth even? I'm a nighttime showerer. So yes, I wanted that shower before bed and also shower in the morning, but thank God I had a bottle of water in my work bag that I could use to brush my teeth that night. But there was none of that. And there was one apology and it was kind of like take it or leave it. We understand if you leave. Like
I didn't think about that. Yeah, if we'd have been offered a bottle of water, that might have been a. But I have to say, the Kansas City Public Works Department worked all night long, and the water came on about 6 a.m. I heard it when it kicked off. It came on about 6 a.m. So even though we're griping and moaning, that was one thing that impressed me. But what I'm saying is, a manager, when the water in the hotel's out, you ought to call the top manager you got. That's about as serious of a problem, other than the place being set afire. That's about as serious a problem as you can have. No water in your hotel. And so a manager should have been there. There's a way to take a bad situation and turn it into a positive. There is a way to take that and make people feel so special. We could all see that it was the city water line, but there's a way to turn that around and make somebody, what, I like this, but I'm gonna stay here next time, assuming they got water. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here next time. We get back, and I've been sick since last Tuesday or Wednesday with vertigo. If I'm not looking right at the camera, that's why. I've still got it. I'm a little better, but I've still got it. Saturday, Allie, I sent you a picture. I sent Alex a picture. I should have put a picture on here. So I believe people's not going to believe everything we're saying.
yeah.
But I did this same show last year, and my members, I heard from more of them than ever. So, but this was even worse. So Saturday, I've got vertigo. CVS has I said the name of I said I wasn't going to say the name of the business. I am going to say this because this was this ridiculous. CVS has a walk-in clinic. They promote it as Minute Clinic. You can look it up. Not all CVS has it, but some of them do. And it's a walk-in clinic from, when you got a cold or whatever. By the road, Allie can testify to this. They have signs up that say walk-ins welcome. The word they use is welcome. Did I not send you that sign, Allie?
Yeah, like you said, you
Walk-ins welcome. I had looked the night before because not every walk-in clinic's open on Saturday. I could tell I was getting more and more sick. So Friday night I looked and said, "Where in the world can I go in the morning?" And the CVS one opens at 9 o'clock. So I said, I'm gonna get there at 8:55. So where I can be the first one. Because if you've ever had vertigo, it ain't fun. I go in 8:55. I'm the only one in there. Nurse practitioner, I assume, is who's working. She comes in. By then, another fella had come in. I guess he had an appointment or something at 9 o'clock. And they have a kiosk for you to put your information in. With this vertigo, I cannot look down. If I look down, I will fall. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you this, but I fell Sunday. This was Saturday when I was trying to get a treatment and couldn't. Sunday, I fell and hurt myself. So this was the day before. I could not look down, or you would feel like Mike Tyson hit you. The kiosk, you got to put your information in. I tell the lady, hey, I've not been able to, I can't look down. I've got vertigo. You could look at me and tell that this boy's sick. And I said, I can't look down if you don't mind putting my stuff in, or I can give you my insurance card or whatever. Now, remember, I'm at a CVS. So if they help me, they're not only going to get my money for helping me, they're going to get my prescription money because I'm fit to buy whatever she sells me. Situation. Oh, sir, I don't take walk-ins. My first available appointment is 3:30. And I done told her now I had vertigo because I told her I can't fill out your form. You'll have to come back at 3:30. And I said, ma'am, I've got vertigo. I can't really be driving. It's dangerous. I said, but y'all got all these signs by the road says walk-ins welcome. Can you just, I've got vertigo. Can you give me a prescription or help me or whatever? It's nobody here. No, no, no. I'm booked up. First I can see you 3:30. I don't do walk-ins on Saturdays. I don't care what the sign by the road says. I can't see you till 3:30. It was no, I'm sorry, you're in this situation. Will you sit and have water? I can look at your eyes and tell you about to faint on me. It was no, in the meantime, take an aspirin or go over there and get that over the counter stuff that'll help you. Nothing. It was no care whatsoever for the situation. So they lost probably $100. I don't know. Most walk-in clinics charge you $100 plus your insurance. Plus, I would have gotten whatever prescription she had and I would have went there from now to kingdoms come when I got sick. No, I'll never go in there again. They lost because this is near my home. They lost my business forever. I mean, they lost tens of thousands of dollars with her on that one, and it literally said walk-ins by the road. Next day, I want you to notice a thing. It don't matter if you're in a small town, in a big city, if you're in the Midwest, the South, if you're dealing with a minimum wage person or a nurse practitioner that's likely making $120,000. Don't matter. If she had a proper manager over that CVS, that wouldn't have been the answer. That may have been the answer, but it would have been. But in the meantime, buy this $50 worth of over the counter stuff to suit you. Sunday, after I failed, I probably wasn't smart, but we celebrate my mother's birthday in my little hometown in Mississippi. I drive 4 hours up there, feeling terrible as you can imagine. Easy. Shouldn't have done it, but I went. We went to a restaurant, Catfish House, that I have been to thousands of times in my life. Award winning. People drive from miles around. Best food you've ever eaten. So, I'm excited to go. I've been there thousands of times without bad experiences. We go in. I texted my buddy to keep up with it. It was so ridiculous. We go in. I think I got there at 125. Go in at 125. Most catfish houses, if people are watching this from all around, they won't know this. It's almost like a Mexican restaurant. When you sit down and they start bringing you salsa and chips. Well, catfish house, they'll immediately bring you hush puppies, coleslaw, white beans, whatever. We said at 125, our server didn't come to see us till 155. 30 minutes later, in a little hometown, a place I've been 1,000 times that had great service every time till now. Our slaw came, and slaw and hush puppies and all of that, about 45 minutes after we got there. Our catfish, and this is a catfish house, so that's the one thing you always cooking. But we didn't. None of us order anything weird. 1 hour and 12 minutes, as I was texting my buddy because we used to go there so much as a kid before it came. All right, here now in that particular situation, I don't know if they had a problem in the kitchen. I don't know what the problem was, but there was no manager asserting themselves. There was no manager. And here again, the table next to us, Allie, I noticed a husband and wife, just two of them. The wife was ready to go because they weren't getting their fish. Uh, he started a timer on his phone. She must have said, "We're gonna leave if they ain't here in 15 minutes or whatever." And when 15 minutes left, they got out and left. They left for $20 on the table for their slaw and all, and they left before they got their food. So it cost them money. And they may never come again. And the manager, there was waitresses that were also taking people's money at the cash register, which you learn in day one of business school. That's not how you do it. You know, your waitresses are waitresses. You have somebody else at the cash register. You don't mix all these duties for various purposes. Uh, that was that one. My mother wants a Apple Watch. We go to the cell phone store to buy her an Apple Watch. $499. And it's her birthday tomorrow. So I said, my brother and I are going to buy this. I'm going to put it on my credit card. My brother's going to give me half and buy her Apple Watch. Allie, would you believe $499 to buy the Apple Watch? On top of that, it's like $10 a month to turn on a service where it'll ring.
Yep.
The lady says, no, we only sell Apple Watches on finance. Do you believe that, Allie?
I believe it because I heard about it from you yesterday. But yes, no,
Mama said,
yeah,
well, Mama said I hadn't financed stuff in years. I like to pay cash.
right.
And I said, well, I'm the one paying because it's your birthday present. And I'm standing here and I want to pay the $499. We don't want to finance it. I want to pay it. This is her birthday present. If you finance it, it's going to go on her bill and she's going to have to pay it. And I want to pay it. I want to pay you $499 plus tax. No, sir. You have to finance it. I said, well, how much is the financing charge? $13 a month. I said, for how long? 36 months. I put that in my calculator. It came to $469. So they going to make $30 less and get it $13 at a time when they got a customer standing there trying to pay them. And by God, she wouldn't sell it to us. She would not sell it to us if we didn't finance. So, good and well, somehow she makes a bonus by the more
Oh,
financing
yeah.
deals she does.
Yeah.
But you also know good and well that that's not corporate policy. They will sell you that watch if you want to pay them $500.
Well, and
They cost themselves $30 in the long run. And see what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, you're from a small hometown. I'm sure that regional manager isn't isn't happy that she didn't take your $459. So I'm sure that they don't. I'm sure Apple Watch purchases are few and far between in where your mother lives. So that was stunning to me.
I mean, couldn't give them $500. And the last one I'm going to tell you, and again, to me, this just goes back to we got a serious problem. We have no managers in our economy. I don't know if the school system's failing. I don't know if COVID failed. It does not matter if you're in a small town, the big city, if you're checking into a hotel or trying to get a catfish or trying to pay somebody $500. My father is in a senior living home. He has late stage Alzheimer's. He hadn't been out of the bed in a year. He lays in the bed all day. I don't think he can see good anymore. I think he can see us if we're right in his face. He cannot see the TV, but I think he can hear it. I think he can hear it. So we want the TV running for him to have something to hear, in the senior living home that we're in. Now, my dad's got late stage Alzheimer's. He can't get out of the bed. Most of the people there can. Daddy's one of the few that's down as bad as he is. Most of them can get up and walk around and go eat lunch and sit outside and swing and all this kind of stuff. They have went to no cable and they've got all Roku's now. You got 80 and 90-year-old people with Alzheimer's having to remember their password to make the television work.
Make it make sense.
Instead of just having a cable where most of them just want to watch the news at 5. Instead of just having the cable, and it's $3,000 a month, and they take good care of him. I'm not griping over that. We're thrilled with the care they take. But to not have cable television for 80-year-old people with Alzheimer's and expect them to work a Roku that has different passwords for different channels and different this and different that. Daddy can't watch the TV. His TV will spin, and there's no TV for him to watch. This is management. Who would have come up with that? Maybe that saves them $200 a month. I don't know, by not having a cable bill now and having Roku, but no thought whatsoever for the customer, for the person laying in there. Even though Daddy can't see the TV, he can hear it. and we're not with him all the time. We want that thing playing for him. I don't blame whoever is the nurse there. I blame the management. Somebody ought to say, no, I'm not having it.
Yeah.
And this may tell on myself. This may sound good or bad. In our company, I would say, I'm not having that. We're going to fix it. And I don't see that as I travel around. That's the last one of our gripes. But I'm worried to death I'm telling you right now, y'all, we're on the wrong track. This is not Republican. It's not Democrat. We are on the wrong track. When businesses, when infrastructure providers, when road departments of transportation, when hotels, when walk-in pharmacies cannot have a focus on helping the customer, your economy will break down. I believe that. I believe we're going to see the breakdown of our economy in my lifetime, unfortunately, just by my observing whether I'm ordering a hamburger or trying to fix my vertigo. I really believe that, and I'm sad to say it.
Well, and I think a lot of it too, the root of all of this, and I think it is the word that pops into my mind is just communication. I mean, if all these negative experiences that we've had collectively and individually over the last 2 weeks, if we would have just been communicated to about the issue, their expected outcome, what to expect, just any of that. And I think just communication is a lacking skill. I think soft skills are few and far between. People just don't really have soft skills anymore, like people coming out of high school and college. And like there's a reason that there's some term on the internet going around. I know I talked to you about this the other day. There's some like term, and it's not to talk negatively about this generation, but it's called like the Gen Z stare is what it's been coined as. And it's because people are literally, myself included, walking into restaurants and host not even being greeted by a hostess or the host stand. And like you're having to start that interaction. And it's little things like that. And I think that that has just totally fallen off in school. I think that as technology advances for the better, there are some obvious like downsides of it, and people are too reliant on texting and they don't have communication styles or communication skills anymore, should I say. And I think it's trickling into every part of our day-to-day lives, and it is a scary thing to witness day in and day
I,
out.
I, and everybody says AI is the answer. Well, assuming AI is the answer, then you're going to have tons and tons of unemployed people who are going to do what? And number A, and B, I don't know that AI is the answer. We've been trying to use AI for something that seems fairly simple to me, and it can't do it. So I'm not convinced yet that it's taking the world. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not convinced of that yet. But yes, the reason I wanted to do this show the way we did is it's no one geography.
Mhm.
It's no small town, big city. It's no, oh, well, that's just fast food workers. No, it is. We had the same experience basically at McDonald's as we did at the fancy, Mexican restaurants, or the Catfish House. Same experience basically. And so, yes, I think it has got to be something to do with the texting. It's got to be something to do with the education system. But we're in real trouble as a country because the economy cannot support. You have to take care of your customers on some level. You
Mhm.
know. Now you know me well enough to know that if a customer's wrong, we won't just bend over backwards and do what they want if they're wrong. I'll tell them, no, we're not doing it. I can't do that. I mean, you know me well, but you also know me well enough to know that if I were running the senior living home, I'm gonna see to it those people's television were on.
Right.
I wouldn't go home that night till they was cut off. I just couldn't imagine it. You know, I'm sure you spend enough time with your grandmother. They want to watch the news at 5 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
That's
Jeopardy.
the one
They want
thing
Jeopardy.
that is the one thing that might give them a sense of belonging, of
Yeah.
normalcy. And
Connection to the
if
world.
I ran a senior living home and at 5 o'clock they couldn't put it on the news, I just believe I'd have a hard time. That would bother me. See, and I just don't see that it bother people.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our show for this week. I did one of these last year for our members only, and I heard from more members than anybody. And that trip only had about half of these problems that we went over this time. So I do think, though, as economic developers, we've got to do something. I don't know what. We've got a role to play. The education system's not solving it. It doesn't matter what political party you are. We've got some role to play. We got to figure it out. In my hometown, there have been shootings 3 or 4 weekends in a row. They put a curfew in
Mine
for
too.
kids under 18. Can't be out after 10 because all the shootings are being done by 14 and 15 and 16-year-olds. Allie, wasn't there a shooting in your hometown of like 18-year-olds?
There have been two severe ones. I don't think any, yeah, one person ended up passing away 2 weeks ago from a shooting at like a celebration in town. And then just this last Friday, yeah, two of the local high schools, their rivalry game, a 14-year-old was arrested for that shooting. And it's just, yeah,
See,
it's unconscionable to me. I really don't get
we've
it.
either got to train a whole generation of people to work or we got to train a few managers because one manager can handle 20 people if they know how to do it. I think that's the gap is the managers. I really do. But how does this tie to economic development? Because we ain't gonna have any jobs if folks can't do these little things. You're not gonna have jobs. Your economy is gonna suffer. Your sales tax is gonna go down. So on and so forth. So anyway, that's our show for this week, Allie. Since I've dropped the whole time and I've got vertigo, so I can't have a look at the camera. I sound a lot better when we didn't do YouTube. People could see me. Now I got the vertigo. I can't even look straight. So Allie, I will give you the last word.
No, I am curious to hear. I know that you can watch this on YouTube. Curious to hear about your experiences. If you've been noticing things and seeing positive ways to address it, absolutely, we're all ears. We're always looking to share positives, not just the grievances and the negatives that we run into. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll have a new episode out for you next week.